Hi, everybody. It's Patricia Coughlin speaking to you from the very wet and soggy Hudson Valley. It's just doing nothing but raining here. Anyway, I wanted to respond to a request from a colleague who wanted to understand what was going on with a particular patient who was having what we call a negative therapeutic reaction. Well, what is that anyway? Technically, what it is that the patient actually improves and receives benefit, but that seems to trigger a regression. So they get worse after they get better. In psychoanalytic literature, we might call this undoing, right? So they undo the progress. They might even undo their understanding and insight that they had the week before. They can't even remember what happened there, but they just feel worse. So, first of all, we have to understand this, and we have to understand it in the context of the entire case formulation. Because what are some of the things that could cause that kind of backlash? I mean, obviously, on a conscious level, people want to get better, right? They want to improve. So, why would there be this kind of backlash or getting worse after getting better? So, there are a couple of things to consider. And again, you can only understand this within the context of the entire case, right? So, is this a pattern for them that somehow it is forbidden for them to be well, healthy, strong, successful? There might be an Oedipal component to this, right? That it is forbidden for, the young man to supersede the father. And again, you'd have to have data, right, to confirm that this seems to be a dynamic operating, right, in this person and perhaps in their family. And you've also seen other examples, right, where they would win a prize, then get depressed, get straight A's, then stop studying and do poorly, things like that. And connected to that, or it could also be a separate phenomenon, is, human beings are meaning making machines, and we create identities, a sense of who we are. And so if someone has struggled for a long time and they consider themselves, right, a loser, or I am a depressed person, um, I am the stupid one in the family, whatever it might be. Getting better is going to upset that apple cart, right? It's not enough, perhaps, right, to just get that initial progress, but to help the person incorporate this new way of being into their identity, right? It's very common, for example, that someone who has been heavy and overweight most of their life, they might lose enormous amounts of weight, and it might be years that they've actually been fit and slim, and yet they still think of themselves, right, as fat or heavy, right? So we have to help somebody incorporate these new changes into a new sense of self. So, really understanding what the anxiety is that comes with this improvement on one level, right? It might seem, again, wonderful that they're no longer depressed and have lots of energy, and yet they might bump up against something else now, right? That given that they're going to be anxious about. Maybe being depressed was their excuse, right, for not getting a job or whatever, right? Now that that depression lifts, there's pressure on them, right, to have to go out, get a job, start doing something. So, again, there can be lots of different reasons. Another one might be having to do with the therapist and the therapeutic relationship. If this is a patient who tends to be quite dependent, or even maybe they never had anybody to depend on before, and you're really the first person that they have felt, understands them and encourages them and supports them. If they get better, they're going to lose you, right? So this is another thing to be very, very aware of and to bring to consciousness and to talk about, right? That on the surface, it may seem like improvement is just a good thing, but there can be a lot of anxieties and prohibitions around being strong, healthy, well, and also some losses that may accompany that improvement. So really explore all of this with your patient in order to discover, right, what the factors are responsible for this kind of backlash or regression following progress. So I hope that's helpful to you. Please send your comments and questions. I'm here to answer anything you're concerned about with being a more effective therapist. Thanks. Bye-bye.